That's what I live for. People and relationships and spreading love. And my way of doing that is through music. Through writing music and playing music and talking about music and teaching young people.
So this video is about Leonard Bernstein, and I recently watched this movie, Maestro, that has Bradley Cooper playing Leonard Bernstein, and it was really, really captivating. His story, his passion, his motivation, and absolutely incredible movie about him. So I wanted to learn more about him, so I dug in myself and found, just his drive and his willingness to unapologetically be himself and to put his everything into his craft. I thought was really inspirational. So I hope you find this inspirational for your projects as well.
But when he showed an early interest in music, his father discouraged him. When asked about this later, his father said, "How could I know he'd turn out to be Leonard Bernstein? Conductor of major orchestras, composer of Broadway musicals and symphonies, lecturer, teacher, pianist, shameless romantic, and Renaissance man of the musical theater. And it is his gift for making music accessible to all of us that has lodged him in our hearts forever."
We were in rehearsal, the first rehearsal, and I was faced away, and suddenly there was a shriek from the violins. You could see who was coming in, and it was this Bernstein guy who was, I think to say charismatic was an understatement. It just an aura around him he had.
I'm Sue Mallet, Director of Planning for the London Symphony Orchestra. I think Lenny brought with him the joy of making music. I mean, on the podium, he undoubtedly inspired the players, the singers, the soloists, I just think that, people would say that he inspired them to play. He was a great conductor, and he was a great composer. And there aren't many who have all these attributes that I know of.
I'm very happy I studied with Bengerova. She raised hell with me, and she made me listen to what I was doing at the piano, which nobody ever made me do. She said, "You wouldn't dream of letting your orchestra play the way you just played. Do you realize what you just did? If that were an orchestra, you would stop immediately and correct it, banging the left hand like that and not letting the inner line come out. How dare you? Who do you think you are? You have to listen when you play." She was a tyrant, and she taught me to listen. And that affected me as a conductor.
Yes, of course.
The first year was hell with her. I was so shaking and frightened every time I'd come for a lesson that I could barely play. And the second year I realized that she was a great lady and that she loved me enough to be tyrannical and make it serious. That she wasn't just being brutal, she was taking it seriously. And then we became very, very close and loving friends. She's one of the great people in my life. I mourn.
Study the whole work, get to know its insides, and then draw our conclusion.
And since writing music is the most important thing I can do, the main dissatisfaction is therefore that I have written so little music.
And the fact that it is the London Symphony Orchestra is one thing, but then how personable they were and how warm they were and how unrelenting they were in their talent and monstrous energy for me personally as Lenny, and they gave me everything that I could have possibly wanted. And it was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. So to have that warmth amidst this, Thunderdome-like environment was wonderful. And because of that, they just felt like such a part of the film. They are such a part of the film. I mean, we hold on the concertmaster afterwards because there's just this beautiful expression that he has of having experienced that moment. Because it really did feel like we all did experience that moment together. And I've had the great fortune of spending the last 5 years around a lot of orchestras and watching a lot of music, many many hours. And it really feels like a sports team. You can get the best players together on a team, and they're not going to win. And it really is about how they communicate and how much they want to be there, and how much they feel heard and safe and guided. That, you know, it really is all, there's no difference in terms of the way I've experienced an orchestra and a sports team, because they're all unique players, and they're all the best at what they do, and they've all been doing it since they were young, so they don't suffer fools either. So you better know what you're doing when you show up, or they're going to destroy you. And at the same time, they want to be led. So if anything, it feels like, you know, conducting an orchestra is like riding a stallion. You have to guide it, and it has to feel safe with you, but you also have to respect the fact that it could kill you in a second. So it's a really wonderful, that's why I just think Lenny was so incredible, that he was able to never soften his own light and at the same time welcome an orchestra.
Instead of wasting our energies in hostility and our wealth on weaponry, we could send art to the moon, exalt our Pasternaks instead of isolating them, harness the sun's energy, learn a few languages, talk, travel, grow, and love.
That's what I live for. People and relationships and spreading love. And my way of doing that is through music, through writing music and playing music and talking about music and teaching young people.
The only thing I'm really proud of in my life is that all these conductors were my friends.